Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Kyle Richards was seen wiping tears at her daughter Alexia Umansky's wedding, but not for the reasons we might expect this time. Despite her ongoing separation from her ex-husband, Mauricio Umansky brought her to tears with a heartwarming gesture on their daughter's big day. The emotional and heartfelt moment struck a chord with fans. As Alexia married Jake Zingerman in a family-filled celebration, Mauricio's touching conversation with his daughter before her first look didn't just make Alexia cry. It also brought tears to his eyes. Additionally, it brought Kyle to tears, turning the day into an unforgettable reunion for the family. What words did Mauricio say to Alexia? Keep reading to know the full story. RHOB8. Alexia Umansky honors Kyle Richards. RHOB8 star Kyle Richards and her daughter, Alexia Umansky, shared a touching bond on Alexia's wedding day. The latter wanted to give her mom a tribute and honor her wedding day, as she was carrying her at the time. This made it even more special. She included her mom in the planning and even danced with her dad. She took inspiration from Kyle's January 1996 wedding. Alexia also recreated small but meaningful details, like wearing the same ballet slippers, nail polish, and carrying a bouquet of roses. She said, "My mom held roses on her wedding day, and I wanted to do an ode to that." This made the day feel intimate, sentimental, and extra special for the whole family. REOB8. Mauricio Umansky left Kyle Richards crying at Alexia's wedding. In a video Alexia later shared on Instagram, REOB8's Kyle Richards stood nearby as Mauricio walked into the room to see their daughter in her wedding gown. His eyes were already filled with tears. Hugging his daughter tightly, he kissed her shoulder and spun her around, telling her, "You look like a princess." "Dad, don't make me cry," Alexia exclaimed. The exchange was enough to leave Kyle teary-eyed so as not to ruin her makeup. With a light laugh, Alexia added, "Woo, no crying before my first look." She smiled through tears and told Mauricio, "I love you, Dad," admitting she hadn't expected her dad's surprise entrance. "I didn't expect my dad to walk into the room, especially with his eyes full of tears," she wrote in the caption. "For a moment, time went still. A moment I'll cherish forever," she added. The heartwarming reunion wasn't only for the wedding day. Alexia revealed that the night before the ceremony, the entire family, including her sisters Farah, Brittany Aljafree, Sophia Umansky, and Portia Umansky, gathered for a massive sleepover at the family's Encino home. Kyle, Mauricio, and the kids all stayed for the night. It was a special time with family before the big day. For Kyle, the tears weren't just about seeing her daughter as a bride, but about watching Mauricio step back into the role of dad. Their marriage may be on pause. In that moment, seeing the family together like that touched Kyle more than she thought it would. The sun rose gently over the lavish hills of Beverly, brushing the sky in hues of pink and gold. In a house that had once seen glamour, laughter, and years of family dinners, a hush had fallen. It was the morning of Alexia Umansky's wedding, a day every mother dreams of for her daughter. Kyle Richards, known for her poise and sparkle on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, sat silently at her vanity. A brush rested in her hand, her emerald eyes staring into her reflection. But the woman in the mirror wasn't just a reality star. She was a mother, one whose heart was wrapped in roses and thorns. Downstairs, the house hummed with the chaos of celebration. Florists arranging blooms, makeup artists gliding by, and Portia squealing over a lost earring. But Kyle lingered upstairs. There was a quiet storm brewing inside her, not just because her daughter was about to step into a new life, but because someone from Kyle's old life had returned that morning. Mauricio. Chapter 2: Ballet Slippers and Secret Smiles. Alexia Umansky stood in her bridal suite, slipping into her lace wedding gown. She'd chosen every detail with intent, from the pale pink ballet slippers nail polish to the bouquet of blush roses, a tribute to her mother's 1996 wedding to Mauricio. Kyle had carried roses, and so would she. Mama always told me roses survive storms, Alexia had once said. They bloom anyway. The wedding planner knocked softly and entered. Your dad's here. My dad? Alexia blinked. She wasn't expecting him this early. Her last conversation with Mauricio had been loving, but uncertain. Since the news of the separation, things had shifted. He hadn't been around as much, but she knew he loved her. That had never been in question. As she turned to face the door, it opened slowly, and there he was. Mauricio, her father. Dressed in a black tuxedo, his eyes already glistening. Chapter 3. You look like a princess. Time stilled. Mauricio walked in as if no time had passed, as if he'd never left the family home. His stride was slow, reverent. As he saw his daughter in her gown, he stopped short. His voice cracked. You look like a princess, Alexia. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Dad, don't make me cry before the first look. But he couldn't help it, neither could she. He stepped forward and embraced her tightly. He kissed her on the shoulder, a father's silent blessing. He spun her gently, like he had when she was 6, dancing in socks on marble floors. Behind them, Kyle had stepped into the doorway unnoticed. She saw it, that spark, the connection between father and daughter, so raw and alive. But then she saw something else. Mauricio turned to glance at her, as if sensing her presence. Their eyes met for one long moment. No words were spoken, but the tears that welled up in Kyle's eyes said everything. Chapter 4. The night before. The night before the wedding, something magical had happened, a reunion that hadn't been planned. Farah, Brittany, Sophia, Portia, and Alexia had all gathered at their childhood home in Encino. A spontaneous sister sleepover turned into something more. Kyle had ordered their favorite sushi. Portia had queued up old home videos. Laughter echoed through the hallways, faces glowing in the light of old memories. And then the doorbell rang. It was Mauricio. He hadn't been expected, but he brought a bottle of vintage wine and that easy smile that once lit up Kyle's world. No one questioned it. He walked in like he'd never left, and that night, the Umansky Richards house was whole again. They played charades, teased each other, and told stories of childhood embarrassments. It was a bubble in time, one that none of them wanted to burst. Alexia later said, that sleepover was the best part of the weekend. Not the cake, not the dress, just us together. Chapter 5. Roses in the Rain. The wedding day unfolded like a fairy tale, but real life has a way of writing better endings than fantasy. Alexia walked down the aisle holding her bouquet of roses, unaware that a soft drizzle had begun to fall. The sky, like the guests, wept gentle tears. Kyle stood with her hand over her heart. Mauricio, just a few feet away, watched their daughter become a wife. During the vows, Jake promised Alexia that he would carry the roses, a subtle but powerful nod to the family she came from. But the most unexpected moment came during the father-daughter dance. The music began, Forever Young by Rod Stewart, the very song Kyle had danced to with Mauricio at their wedding decades ago. Mauricio took Alexia's hand and whispered, Your mom chose this song back then. I know, she said with a wink. I did that on purpose. As they danced, Kyle wiped away another tear. This wasn't a love story about a bride and groom. It was about a family that had bent but hadn't broken. Chapter 6. After the music fades. Later that night, after the music dimmed and the guests had retreated to candlelit dinners and laughter-filled patios, Kyle found herself alone in the garden, staring at the fountain. Mauricio found her there. Beautiful day, he said, standing beside her. The most beautiful, she replied, her voice soft. They stood in silence, the kind only two people who know each other's souls can share. I saw you crying earlier, he said. Kyle laughed lightly. You weren't supposed to see that. I saw everything, he replied. I always do, even when I was too far to say it. She turned to him then, her eyes searching his. "Thank you for making her feel like a princess," she said. "You made her a queen," he answered. "I just showed up." They didn't speak of reconciliation. There were no promises, just honesty and years of unspoken love. And that, for Kyle, was enough. Epilogue: Cherished Moments. Alexia later posted a video on Instagram. The caption read, "I didn't expect my dad to walk into the room with tears in his eyes. For a moment, time stood still. A moment I'll cherish forever." The video went viral. Fans of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills were swept up in the beauty of it all. Not just the gowns or the decor, but the rawness, the authenticity. In a world of curated perfection, what stood out most was imperfection made beautiful. Roses carried, tears shed, a family not flawless, but fiercely connected. And somewhere, beneath the glitz and Beverly Hills glamour, a mother and father stood watching their daughter walk into her future. And for a fleeting moment, they remembered what it felt like to do it together.